Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik from Figured Out Productions. The following video is a video of some kind, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hey guys, it's Adam here, and welcome to PlayLoad. This is all my video game pickups for the month of January 2022. As you can see, not a particularly big haul this month, and we'll go over it. But first, a couple of things. One, you might be noticing possibly that the lighting is a little different in this video. My photo light that's usually right there just decided to kick the bucket. This one is still okay, and I'm using some natural light, so it'll get us through this video. And the other thing is, as per usual, I'm going to go through the games and everything, and at the end I want to do something I've never done in the history of this channel, which is just stop and talk to you guys openly about life-related things, if you'll indulge me. And we'll get to it, but first let's do what we're here to do. So yes, video game stuff. Not a crazy haul. At the beginning of this month was really the biggest thing I did. Half Price Books, which is a store across the U.S. in various states, had some big sale where everything was like 20 or 30% off. I don't really remember, but I decided to go over to one and just see if I could find anything, and I found some decent stuff. I found some original Xbox games I needed. Again, my goal with the original Xbox is to get a complete set eventually. I don't know when that'll happen, but it's on my list. We got Freestyle Metal X, which I don't really remember much about this game, other than it was the kind of the end of the '90s Tood era, when I feel like every decade takes about 3 years to end. So like the 90s ended in 2003 or something like that. I feel like that's how it always works. So it's not surprising you would have a remnant. Yeah, 2002. So there you go. It was still in that threshold there. So yeah, it's just a remnant of that era. I don't know if the game itself is actually any good as like it's like a extreme biking game. I got Knight's Apprentice, which I don't remember ever seeing. I just do not remember this game. It was, as it's self-labeled, as an Xbox original exclusive. I don't remember ever seeing this before or since. Well, granted, it hasn't been long since I picked it up. But, yeah, I don't know if the game's any good or even what it is. It looks like some sort of RPG, but does anybody out there remember this game? Anybody know anything about this? I got Motor Trend Presents Lotus Challenge, just a racing game. Not really my type of thing, but it's part of the list. You got to get it. And one I just was kind of surprised by, which was Blazing Angels, Squadrons of World War II. I really liked this game. I played the 360 version extensively. I didn't remember that there was an original Xbox version, so very cool to get that. I got a game for a system I almost never pick stuff up for. For the Sega Genesis, Shining in the Darkness, which is like a semi-valuable RPG on the Genesis. It's in unbelievable shape, except for like a small nick up here in the upper left corner. And like you look inside, it's like whoever owned this didn't play it. They actually had a surprisingly large number of really good condition boxed Genesis games. I feel like somebody just traded in their childhood collection that they hadn't touched in years or something like that. Nothing else I really needed. I didn't actually necessarily need this. I was just stunned by seeing it. And that it really wasn't expensive, especially with the discount they had going on. So I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and give that a good home. And then for the Xbox 360, similar to Blazing Angels, I got Damage Inc. Pacific Squadrons of World War II. I never played this one. Like I said, I liked the Blazing Angels game on the 360. So there's actually a surprisingly large number of these like World War II dogfighter type of games. So I don't know if it's actually any good, but I was willing to pick it up. And that's actually, funny enough, kind of the end of the things I actually bought. Everything else here was mailed in. And these initial things, I didn't know what they were, so I ended up opening them. First up, this is from GG Retro Gaming, who was cool enough to just send me a package. He must have seen my Tales of Symphonia GameCube video, because he sent me the 360 game Tales of Vesperia, which I think in that video I accidentally referred to that game as Tales of Vesperia once or twice, because I'm not a huge Tales guy, that franchise. But yeah, so thank you very much to GG Retro Gaming. I'll put a link in the description to his website if you want to check him out. You can buy, he's got a lot of good stuff over there. I've been to his office, hell of a nice dude, and he's just, every once in a while he just sends me stuff, which is, he's a good guy if he's gonna just do that. So there you go, Tales of Vesperia. This one, this is a magazine actually. This is Lock On magazine. This is a continuing publication. I actually wrote an article for Lock On issue number 1. And I wrote one for Lock On issue number 3. I had nothing to do with Lock On issue number 2, but they still sent it to me. And I'm looking at the back of people who are involved, and I just want to give a big shout out to my buddy Janet Garcia, because she wrote an article in this. So go team. But yeah, thank you to the guys over at Lock On for sending me that. I was not expecting that. It's a good magazine. They have the physical editions, which are largely sold out because they're kind of a low print run, but then there's a digital version too if you just want to read the articles. For the first one, I wrote all about the history of the Nintendo PlayStation prototype and, you know, the times I had access to it and the story behind all that and how I ended up being the last person to ever play it and all that sort of stuff. You know, I always keep a photo of it back here along with the signature of Terry, the guy who actually owned it and found it and all that sort of stuff. The next one, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about what I wrote about yet, so I won't do that because it's their publication. But yeah, very cool. So thank you to those guys. We also have a stack of some packages here. So let's go ahead and open those up. These come from, most of them seem to be international, and I'm not 100% sure what they are, but we will, I think I know what they are, and I didn't have a cutting tool nearby, so hopefully we can just kind of get through these all relatively easily. This first thing up is, oh, okay, I know what this is. This is Yeah Yeah Beavis 2. Which is, this is a new Dreamcast indie game that John Riggs, fellow YouTuber and buddy of mine, he actually made, or he was involved with. It's like a custom thing he had worked on. I'll tell you more about the story because this is going to get its own video. John was doing like CDR versions. He was just kind of doing as like a homebrew project. But the guys over at Wave who published, suddenly I'm spacing on it. I'll put the image up here. I can't remember the name all of a sudden. But that game, which was actually a really fun game, they decided to get more into Dreamcast publishing, and they picked this title up. So this is now a press disc, nice release. So very, very cool. But yeah, that'll get its own video. We have another one here, which again I'm not sure. Oh. How perfect. Intrepid Izzy. That was the game I was trying to think of. They sent me, this is the American copy of Intrepid Izzy. Since I have actually done videos on this, I'm not going to do a separate one on it. This one seems cool because it's the special edition that includes the soundtrack. So when I did the video on this originally, I had the collector's edition that came with like figurines and all sorts of stuff, and I also had like the reversible like Japanese copy, but they actually didn't make it originally. They didn't do an American specific release. This is the American art style design, and this one includes a bonus music track or music CD inside, so that's very cool. So yeah, if you want games by Wave, they've got a bunch now. You can go ahead and go on their website and pick them up. So yeah, thanks to the guys at Wave. I really wasn't expecting this, but I guess I should have, but I wasn't thinking about it. But yeah, so like I said, this game is legit. I really like this one. To me, I think my quote on this was, this feels like the original promise of the Sega Saturn. It's a really cool like 2D game with great 3D elements, and I know it's a Dreamcast game, I understand that, but it feels like a game that's like what the Saturn was supposed to give us. I really liked it, and this I haven't played yet, but it'll get its own video. So thank you to the guys at Wave, and we got another one here, which I don't know yet what this is. We have stickers, and we have, oh, okay, I think I know what this is. If I can get through, oh, there's 2 layers of packaging, of course. Now I wish I had that cutting tool prepared. Here we go. There's another thing. It's another Dreamcast game. This is Tapeworm Disco Puzzle by Low-Tech Games. This is a this is a new indie game. I only know the basics of this. They decided, so the guy who was doing these, his name is Alistair, I think. He is now getting into the published, pressed Dreamcast stuff. I know he's going to have another one. I think his game Flea. He had sent me the original like CDR version, but my policy on Dreamcast games is always like, you got to have a pressed disc for me to be like, let's cover it, because that feels real. If it's like a CDR, I just feel like you got to draw the line somewhere, because otherwise the whole channel would be a new Dreamcast indie like every day. He also included a note that says he included some badges, which I can see here. And then he says, "Hi Adam, we listened to people's thoughts on press discs, and we teamed up with Broke Studio." I'm sorry if I'm not reading that right. Broke Studio to have it pressed, a run of Tapeworm Disco Puzzle. I hope you and your fans enjoy. Thank you again. Oh, yeah, Alistair. So, yes, and yeah, PS included some buttons. So, I will do a separate video on this at some point, just like Beebus 2. And you guys can see all the details, but that's just kind of the initial tease, if you will, for what's going to come. I think he also did a new press release of Flea. So, if I get that, I'll do a video on that as well. But we'll get back around to that. And then the last thing we have here is a donation for a very good cause. This is the Satiator. This is a little device. It's like a card that goes in the back of a Sega Saturn. It's like an EverDrive. These guys figured out how to make that work, where you can put this little card in the back and you load an SD card into that, you put games on it, and the Sega Saturn detects it. And like, it sounds like a familiar concept. It's the type of thing we would normally talk about on this channel, but what's really special about this is that we believe that this is the only ODE that will actually work with the Sega Pluto prototype. And once that is, shall we say, unlocked, we can start to study a lot more about what's under the hood of the Sega Pluto. So they donated this for that cause. And if it works, and we'll get to that when we get to that, but if it does, when we bring the Sega Pluto to conventions and things like that, this is what will most likely be in operation. But we'll get to it. We'll get to it. We'll also do a separate video, like a review of it using the Sega Pluto, provided it works and everything. But yeah, we'll get around to it. So huge shout out to these guys. Thank you very much to the Satiator dudes. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check them out, as well as the Dreamcast guys, Lock On, GG Retro Gaming, etc., etc. So thank you very much to all of them. Normally, right here is where I would wrap up the video, but I would really appreciate if you guys would indulge me and take a couple minutes to just listen to a little story I have to tell you. So the part of the reason there's not much stuff here right now is that I had as I usually do, I had a weird month. I ended up doing a lot of traveling, which is not surprising. If you haven't seen my traveling channel, please subscribe to that. You know, it's adventures around the world for, you know, different motives and everything. I'll put a link to that in the description. But this is where I have to get kind of personal with you guys right now. And I'm sorry if I whelp up a bit, because this is a very hard story for me to tell. So I think a lot of you guys know that my mother passed away about 1.5 years ago now. And the night before she couldn't communicate anymore, we were just casually talking because we didn't know that it was about to all kind of come to an end. And she had requested that in what would become Christmas of 2020, which unfortunately she would not live to see, she wanted to go to Guam. I'm sorry. She wanted to go to Guam and like celebrate. She wanted to go to Guam I need a second. I'm sorry about that. I couldn't really hold it together. To continue, she wanted to go to Guam that was like going to be her big trip, that she wanted to go there to celebrate the holidays and everything in December. And that would have been the Christmas of 2020 specifically. We had been a couple of times. She really enjoyed that place. She used to refer to it as her paradise. And she obviously couldn't go. And then because of the pandemic and everything, I couldn't go that year. And then other reasons, I couldn't quite make it there December of 2021. But January this month, that was possible. So I went to go hit up her highlights, do things that we would have done together, do things I like, of course, but also do very specific things for her. And this kind of adventure, if you will, is going to be seen through that lens on the other channel of, I guess you would call it a trip of closure to an extent, doing that for her. And then after that, we went. You have no choice because of the pandemic. When you fly back, you can only go through Hawaii. You can't go. Normally, you would go through Japan, but you can't right now. So you go through Hawaii, and that meant I was forced to have a day in Honolulu. So I ended up going, and I knew that was going to happen. So I went to a restaurant that she and I had gone to in what turned out to be the last trip we ever took. We had been there a couple of years ago, and we went to this pancake place. And I went to the same pancake place, and I sat in the same seat I had actually had that time. And just to kind of have breakfast with her one more time. As it turns out, that was a lot of lasts. You know, it was the last trip we ever took. That when we were sitting there, I took a photo of her. I didn't know it was going to be the last photo I ever did take of her. And it was also the last time we ever had breakfast together. So I needed to do that. And that should have been the end of the story. I get back to Chicago, and I've been taking care of my mother's house. It's the house I grew up in. It really has not been changed a whole lot in the time since I was a child, and I've been mostly just maintaining it because she set it up, and I don't know. You know, you can argue that's unhealthy, whatever, but I've been taking care of it because I didn't really know what else to do with it. And so I was over there a few days ago, and everything was fine. I did normal maintenance as one does. And when I say maintenance, I mean like cleaning. Like there was nothing serious to do. And then I left. And then 2 days later, I got a notice from the fire department that there had been a sudden explosion in the house. They don't know yet what did it, but they believe it was a cable that had frayed at some point, and it just fused, like it just sparked, and then it caught onto a chair and then shot everywhere. So my childhood home is basically destroyed. Now I have insurance. Fine. By the way, if I learned anything through all this, make sure you have good insurance. Oh, and here's another sad part of our reality. If you deal with insurance, there will be scam artists that will try to steal your insurance money, and they will claim we'll fight for you and get you more money, and they're scam artists. Watch out. But if I learned anything this week, it's get good insurance, which fortunately seems like was at least decent. I have to still deal with it. I'm also being told that if I had been in the house, I would be dead. Because it wasn't like a little something like it caught fire and then it could have been put out. It was a sudden, abrupt, just explosion. And so it's a lot to deal with. Being told I essentially escaped death. Going through all the trauma of what that whole trip, the whole point of it, and then losing my home in the process. For those worried about the video games, they're all here. This is a different residence. They're fine. Anyway, the reason I'm telling you guys all this, other than just the life advice of make sure you have good insurance, I can't stress that enough, is this has taken a very serious emotional toll on me. It's a lot to deal with in a very short amount of time. And what I'm basically saying is I don't know what I'm doing next. I can't even get the basics. Like my photo light died. So I'm gonna keep making videos. I just don't know the next time I'm gonna do one, which I've wanted to always keep life away from the channel, if you will. But right now, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm not in a good place mentally. So I wanted to make sure you guys understood, like, I'm not just vanishing. I will still make videos, and for anybody who still even cares. But I don't know when things will be normal again. Like I said, I will make videos on these things. I want to do it. I need to summon that energy back, because right now I really don't have it. And yeah, I guess that's it. Please, I am begging you, get good insurance. Insurance is one of those things where I always kind of took it for granted. Like, what are the odds of anything happening? The truth is, the odds are not good. But if it happens, and it apparently can, it's bad. So that's the only saving grace in the whole situation, is that apparently my mom, who had picked out the insurance policy, I simply renewed it, was a good one so far. I haven't, we're not even close to done. This is the very beginning, but I'm told that it should be relatively okay. That's all I can say, guys. Please get yourself good insurance. And, if you have families, if you have loved ones, make sure that you tell them that. Because they go away eventually, one way or another. And you end up in a place of isolation. And you can't communicate these types of things anymore, unless you do it when you can. I'm probably not making a whole lot of sense, because this is really hard to explain, and I know this is not a therapy session, but I had like cognitive disassociation. I was like forgetting where I was even at, because this was just so much emotional tax all at once. And I know it's weird to bring this up in a video game themed video, but I'm not looking for any help or support or anything like that. I appreciate, and I'm sure there will be people that offer. That's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this simply to explain and request, if anybody is out there, just to explain that why my content may not be as frequent, why I may not be as social online, why I may not respond to you. I'm dealing with a lot. And I'm simply requesting that if you do watch this video and you see comments and concerns as to where I am or whatever, assuming anyone even cares, you know why, and at least you can tell him, he's going through a lot or whatever. So, yeah. If you're a Patreon backer, I appreciate your support, and I will try to make it up to you. I'll try to do whatever I can. I can't think about that right now. I'm sorry. And maybe that sounds selfish, I'm sorry, but I can't function. It took just about everything I had to try and put this video together. And the other channel, which I don't know if you guys are watching or not, fortunately I had edited most of that already, so those will get finished. I don't know what will happen after that. I make sound like I'm quitting YouTube. I'm not, but I just need some time off, because I can't think. I can't function. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make everything super depressing. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you as soon as I see you.